Alex walked carefully along the wide, glowing streets of the alien city, his eyes wide with wonder. Towers stretched high above him, made of shining metal that reflected the soft lights of the floating platforms and hovering vehicles. Strange colors glimmered on the walls and alien shapes moved quickly past him, some walking, others gliding on sleek hoverboards. It was unlike anything he had seen before, and yet, somehow, it felt alive and welcoming. He adjusted the straps of his backpack and slowed down to take it all in. The city smelled faintly of metal and ozone, mixed with the sense of alien plants lining the streets. Holographic signs flashed advertisements in languages Alex couldn't read, yet the shapes and colors made sense to him somehow. He had always been fascinated by alien technology, but walking through an entire city built by an intelligent species was a dream come true. Alex paused near a market where small glowing stalls displayed goods he had never seen: crystal fruits, floating tools, and tiny mechanical creatures that moved on their own. He leaned slightly to inspect a small humming orb that seemed to float just above a display pad. "Amazing," he whispered under his breath, running a hand along the smooth surface of his own tools, thinking about how much he could learn from these devices. Suddenly, a voice called out his name, soft yet firm, carrying across the busy street. "Alex." He froze in place, his heart skipping a beat. The voice sounded familiar, almost like a memory from long ago. He turned quickly, scanning the crowd, and his eyes locked onto a figure moving toward him. It was Clara. She looked different from the little girl he remembered from the colony years ago. She had grown taller, her posture confident and strong. Her skin had a subtle shimmer that reflected the city lights, and her eyes, large and bright, seemed to recognize him immediately. A soft smile spread across her face, and Alex felt a rush of memories flooding back, playing near the colony's small gardens, laughing at strange alien toys, helping her when she had tripped over the rocky ground. "Clara?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper, as if speaking too loudly might shatter the moment. She nodded, her smile widening. "Yes, Alex." "Do you remember me?" she asked, stepping closer. Her movements were graceful, precise, yet full of warmth. Alex's mind raced. He remembered the colony, the strange mixture of humans and aliens living together, and the few friends he had made. But he had never expected to meet Clara again, not here, not in a city so far from Earth. He took a cautious step forward, feeling a mix of surprise and joy. I remember," he said finally. "I can't believe it's really you." Clara laughed softly, a sound that was both musical and comforting. "It is me," she said. "And I've remembered you too. You were always brave even as a child. Do you remember the gardens near the old colony?" Alex's memory sharpened. He could see the small patches of green under the alien sun, the rocks that formed a tiny maze for children to explore, and Clara running ahead of him as they played. He remembered her tripping over a loose stone and how he had helped her up without thinking. It had seemed like nothing at the time, just a simple act, but Clara's voice reminded him that even small moments could matter. "I remember," he said softly. "I remember helping you. I didn't think it was anything special." Clara's eyes sparkled with amusement. "It was special to me. And I never forgot it. Humans are interesting, Alex. You do things with care and courage that others forget so easily. I've remembered that about you." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. He had always thought humans were ordinary, small and fragile compared to the alien species around them. But Clara's words reminded him that humans could leave an impact, sometimes in ways they didn't even realize. The city around them continued to hum with activity, yet for a moment, it felt as if the noise had faded away. Alex and Clara stood facing each other, two old friends reunited in a place neither had expected. He noticed the subtle differences in her movements, the quiet confidence that only came with experience, and he realized how much time had passed since their childhood days. Clara took another step closer, tilting her head slightly as she studied him. "You've changed," she said softly. "But I can see the same courage I remember in your eyes." Alex laughed nervously. "I hope I still have it. It's been a long time since those days at the colony." Clara smiled. "I think you do. That's why I sought you out, Alex. There's something I need your help with, and I knew you'd understand." Alex's curiosity was piqued. He glanced around the bustling city, then back at Clara. "Help me? With what?" he asked. Clara's expression became serious, though her eyes never lost their warmth. "It's complicated," she said. "But I remembered you. I remembered how humans think differently, how they act when others might hesitate. I need that now." Alex felt a shiver of excitement and apprehension. He had faced challenges before, engineering problems, tight deadlines, and occasional accidents, but nothing like this. And yet, standing there looking at Clara, he felt a strange confidence. Somehow humans could adapt, find solutions and act in ways others couldn't. Maybe, just maybe, he could help. He took a deep breath and nodded slowly. All right, Clara. Tell me what's going on. I'll help. Clara's smile returned, soft and genuine. I knew you would, she said. You've always been extraordinary even as a child. Alex looked at her, remembering the small acts that had seemed unimportant back then, and now realizing they had built the foundation for trust, courage, and connection. The city around them continued to glow and hum, full of activity and life. Yet in that moment, Alex felt as if he had stepped back into a memory and forward into something new all at once. Let's start from the beginning, Clara said, gesturing to a quieter side street where the lights were softer, and the alien chatter seemed distant. There's a lot to explain and time is short. Alex followed her, feeling a strange mixture of nostalgia and anticipation. He had no idea what challenges awaited him, but he remembered something important from that childhood moment. They had faced problems together before, and humans had a way of enduring and adapting that few species could match. As they walked side by side, Alex couldn't help but marvel at the city again, the alien architecture, the flowing streets, and the glowing platforms above. Yet it was Clara, the connection from his past and the spark of memory and trust, that made this moment extraordinary. Humans could endure, think, and act in ways others might not expect. And that endurance, Alex realized, would make all the difference in the challenges ahead. For the first time in years, Alex felt a sense of purpose beyond himself. He had come to this alien world as an engineer, fascinated by technology and innovation, but now he realized that what humans truly brought to the galaxy was not just skill but courage, adaptability, and the ability to make a difference, even through small acts remembered for years. Clara glanced at him and smiled knowingly. Are you ready, Alex? She asked softly. Alex nodded firmly, his mind clear and determined. Yes, he said. Let's do this. The city continued to hum around them, alien and beautiful, full of unknown challenges. Alex followed Clara down a quieter side street, the glowing signs of the alien city fading behind them. The street was lined with small stalls and plants that seemed almost alive, moving slightly in the soft breeze that drifted through the corridors above. The lights reflected off the smooth, metallic surfaces, giving the place a calm, almost serene atmosphere. Alex felt a mixture of curiosity and nervousness. He had no idea why Clara had sought him out after so many years, but he could feel that it was important. Clara glanced at him, her large eyes filled with a mixture of warmth and seriousness. Alex, she said softly, do you remember the day near the old colony gardens? Alex furrowed his brow, trying to recall. Memories were faint, blurred by time, but the mention of the gardens stirred something in his mind. I think so, he replied slowly. The gardens where we used to play? Clara nodded, her expression softening. Yes. You were always careful, always curious. I remember the day I tripped over a loose stone while we were exploring, and you were the one who helped me up. You didn't just help me physically, you spoke to me calmly, made sure I was okay, and stayed with me until I felt safe again. Alex felt a rush of surprise. He had remembered the moment, but only vaguely. It had seemed like an ordinary day, a small act of kindness that barely registered in his mind. I didn't think it was anything important, he said quietly, almost embarrassed. Clara shook her head. To you perhaps. But to my people, acts like that are never forgotten. We remember kindness, courage, and care even in small gestures. They shape how we see others for the rest of our lives. Alex stopped walking for a moment, taking in her words. He had never considered that a simple, spontaneous act could leave a lasting impact on someone else. On Earth, humans sometimes forgot such small deeds, but here Clara's people valued them, storing them in memory and shaping trust and respect over years. He realized that even something he had thought trivial had mattered deeply to her. Clara continued, her voice gentle but firm. When I heard you were coming to our city as an engineer, I remembered you immediately. I remembered how you acted then, and I knew that humans have qualities that others might overlook. You can act with courage and care at the same time, and that is rare in any species. Alex's mind raced. He had faced problems as an engineer, often using logic, tools, and machines to solve challenges. He had relied on his training and instincts, but he had never thought that human kindness and careful thought could be so highly valued by another species. I don't know what to say, he admitted. I never imagined that one small thing could be remembered like that for so long. Clara smiled softly, stepping a little closer. It's not just the act itself, Alex. It's the way you acted. You were calm, thoughtful, and brave even as a child. My people noticed these things. We notice who can think clearly, who can act without hesitation when others panic. Humans like you have this naturally. It surprises many, but it is why you can endure situations others cannot. Alex felt a sense of pride mixed with humility. He had always thought humans were ordinary, small and fragile compared to other species. Yet here, Clara was telling him that humans possessed qualities that made them remarkable, qualities that could survive, adapt, and solve problems where others might fail. He realized that perhaps humans were stronger than he had ever truly believed. They walked further, passing small fountains that bubbled with glowing liquid and plants that changed color with the sound of their footsteps. Clara continued to speak, her tone soft but intense. I remembered you because humans act in ways others cannot predict. You helped me without thinking about recognition or reward. You acted out of care, and that is why I knew I could trust you now. Alex nodded slowly. The memory of that day, small and seemingly insignificant, suddenly took on a new meaning. It was proof that humans, even in their ordinary ways, could leave a lasting impression, and that their courage and care could be noticed across species and time. I guess I just did what felt right, he said. I didn't think anyone would remember it for years. Clara smiled again. And that is exactly why humans are extraordinary, Alex. You act from instinct, compassion, and intelligence combined. That combination is rare, and it can make a difference, even in ways you do not see immediately. Alex felt a sense of connection he hadn't felt in years. The colony had always been a place of adventure and learning, but he had never realized the depth of the bonds he had formed there. Clara, now grown and confident, was proof that human actions could resonate long after they occurred. Do you really think humans are that different? He asked cautiously, his voice low. Clara looked at him with seriousness in her eyes. Yes. You endure, adapt, and act with courage and intelligence that many species lack. You do not always seek glory or recognition, but your actions are remembered and respected. I have watched humans in many situations and I have seen you personally. That small act when we were children was just the beginning. It showed me who you were, and it told me that humans are capable of extraordinary things. Alex stopped again, thinking carefully. I always thought humans were ordinary. Small, fragile, easy to underestimate. I never thought that one person could have such an impact. Clara shook her head. It is not about being the strongest or fastest, Alex. It is about courage, intelligence, and compassion combined. Humans endure challenges, think quickly, and act with care. That combination is rare and it leaves a mark. That is why I remembered you and why I came to find you now. Alex felt a quiet determination growing inside him. The memory of that small childhood act, the impact it had left on Clara, and her words about humans' unique qualities made him realize that he could do more. He could face challenges not just with skill but with courage and care. Humans had a way of making a difference even in alien worlds, and perhaps now he could prove it again. Clara glanced at him, noticing the change in his expression. You see, Alex, even small acts matter. Even now, your ability to think, act, and care can make a difference in the galaxy. That is why I sought you out. I remembered the child you were, and I knew the adult you became could help in ways I cannot do alone. Alex nodded, feeling both humbled and inspired. He remembered the accident in the gardens, how he had acted without thinking, simply helping a friend. That simple act had been remembered, had shaped trust, and had created a connection that reached across years and worlds. He realized now that humans were capable of far more than he had thought. All right, Clara, he said finally, his voice steady. I understand. I'll do whatever I can. I didn't know one small act could be remembered like this, but now I see why humans endure, and why we can make a difference. Clara smiled warmly. Good. That is why I came to you. Humans have a way of acting when others cannot, and I knew I could trust you. That memory, that small moment from our childhood, proved that humans are extraordinary. And now we face a new challenge together. The street around them continued to glow softly, the hum of the city fading into the background as Alex and Clara paused to reflect. He realized that memory, kindness, and courage were not just personal, they could influence the paths of others across species and time. One small act, remembered for years, had created trust, connection, and hope. Clara reached out and touched his arm lightly. I remembered you, Alex. That is why you are here, and that is why humans can endure challenges others cannot. Never forget that. Alex looked at her, feeling a deep sense of responsibility. He had thought the memory was trivial, but it was proof that human actions, no matter how small, could leave lasting effects. He understood now that humans were not only resilient but extraordinary in subtle, powerful ways. He nodded slowly. I won't forget, he said softly. And I'll do my best. Clara smiled, satisfied. That is all I ask. Humans endure, adapt, and act in ways that shape the future. You've shown it once, and I believe you can do it again. The two continued walking, the alien city bustling around them, yet Alex felt a renewed purpose. He knew that the small act of helping Clara years ago had created a lasting bond and that humans could rise to challenges with courage, intelligence, and care. That memory had awakened something powerful. A reminder that even ordinary humans could be extraordinary when it mattered most. Alex and Clara walked further down the quiet side street, the glow of the city softening as they moved away from the main crowds. The gentle hum of hovering vehicles and distant chatter faded into a calm background, and Alex found himself focused entirely on Clara. There was a seriousness in her eyes now, a weight that he hadn't seen before. He could feel that whatever she was about to say was important, perhaps more important than he could imagine. Clara paused near a small plaza where a holographic map floated above a circular pedestal. The lights shimmered softly, illuminating their faces. She gestured to the map, and images of distant planets, star systems, and ships appeared in three-dimensional detail. Alex stepped closer, his eyes widening as he took in the scale of what he was seeing. "My planet," Clara began, her voice steady but urgent, "is in danger." She pointed to a series of red markers moving across the holographic map. "A rogue fleet is approaching our colonies. They are well-armed, organized, and have already destroyed several outlying settlements." Alex felt a chill run through him. He had seen images of conflicts before, even read reports of battles between alien fleets, but this was real, happening right in front of him. The scale of destruction and the stakes were enormous. He had never imagined that he, a human engineer, would be involved in something so dangerous. Clara turned to him, her eyes searching his face. "I need your help, Alex. Humans think differently. You see solutions that others do not. You adapt quickly, act decisively, and are willing to take risks that most species avoid. That is why I sought you out." Alex hesitated, unsure if he could live up to her expectations. "Me? I'm just an engineer. I work with machines, technology, and designs. How could one human make a difference against an entire fleet?" His voice wavered slightly, betraying his uncertainty. Clara placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch firm but comforting. "It is not just about strength, Alex. It is about thinking differently, seeing opportunities others overlook, and acting with courage. Humans have a unique way of approaching problems, combining intelligence, creativity, and adaptability. That is why I remembered you and why I believe you can help us." Alex looked down at the holographic map, seeing the fleet's movements again. The ships were moving fast, coordinated, and deadly. He felt the weight of the responsibility pressing on him. One wrong move could cost countless lives. Yet Clara's words echoed in his mind. Humans endure, they adapt, and they act with courage. He had always known that humans were resilient, but he had never faced a challenge of this magnitude. Clara continued, her tone urgent. "We have defenders, of course, but they are outnumbered and unprepared for the fleet's tactics. We need someone who can think outside the box, someone who can see solutions that others miss. I have seen you act with intelligence and care before, Alex. That is why I came to you now." Alex's mind raced. He remembered the childhood memories Clara had mentioned, the small acts of kindness and courage that had shaped trust and connection. Those moments had proven that humans could endure challenges, act wisely, and leave lasting impressions. Perhaps that same combination of qualities could help now, on a scale much larger than he had ever imagined. I don't know if I can," he admitted softly, his hands hovering near the holographic controls. "This is not just a small problem, it's an entire fleet. I've never faced anything like this before." Clara shook her head gently, her eyes filled with confidence. "You have faced challenges before, Alex. Every human does in their own way. You analyze, adapt, and act with thought and care. That is why humans are extraordinary. One person can make a difference not by brute force, but by intelligence, creativity, and courage. You've already shown it in small ways. Now the stakes are larger, but your abilities are still the same." Alex glanced at her, seeing the sincerity in her gaze. He felt a mixture of fear and determination. The task ahead was daunting, far beyond anything he had imagined, but he also understood that humans had a way of rising to challenges. They endured, thought creatively, and acted decisively when the moment demanded it. Perhaps this was the moment to prove that on a scale that truly mattered. Clara pointed to a cluster of ships moving in formation. "The rogue fleet uses unconventional tactics. They rely on overwhelming force and fear to dominate. But humans can see patterns others miss, find weaknesses in unexpected places, and act in ways that disrupt even the strongest opponents. I need you to do that, Alex. I believe you can. Alex took a deep breath, studying the holographic map. He began to analyze the fleet's patterns, noting the timing of their movements, the spacing between ships, and the routes they had taken so far. He realized that there were gaps, small opportunities where a clever maneuver could slow the fleet or redirect them. It would require precision, courage, and creativity, all qualities humans possessed naturally. He looked back at Clara. Okay, he said, his voice firming. I don't know exactly how yet, but I think I can help. I'll find a way to make a difference. Clara's smile returned, bright and reassuring. I knew you would. That is why I came to you. Humans endure, Alex, and that makes all the difference. You'll see, your approach can change the course of this conflict. One person acting with intelligence and courage can shift the balance. Alex nodded slowly, feeling a surge of determination. He realized that he had been underestimating himself, just as many species underestimated humans. Humans were not always the strongest, the fastest, or the largest, but they endured. They adapted. They acted with courage and intelligence. That combination, Clara had reminded him, could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. He turned back to the holographic map, tracing potential strategies with his fingers. He began to think in terms of patterns, angles, and timing, envisioning how he could use the fleet's formation against them. Each idea sparked another, and soon he was lost in thought, fully engaged in the problem. Clara watched him with admiration, realizing that humans truly did have a unique way of seeing solutions. You see, Alex, she said softly, this is why humans are extraordinary. You do not rely solely on strength or firepower. You use intelligence, creativity, and courage together. You see possibilities that others overlook. And that is exactly what is needed now. Alex felt a quiet confidence growing. The task was enormous, but he understood that humans had faced impossible challenges before. They had endured, adapted, and acted decisively in the face of danger. Perhaps that same resilience, applied wisely, could turn the tide against this rogue fleet. Clara reached out and touched his shoulder lightly. I will stand with you, Alex. We will face this together. But I needed to find a human who could think differently, who could act when others might hesitate. That human is you. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility but also the surge of determination. He looked back at the fleet on the holographic map and then at Clara, seeing the trust she had placed in him. Fear remained, but it was now balanced with resolve. He realized that humans could rise to challenges, even when the odds seemed impossible. I understand, he said firmly. We'll face this. I'll do my best to find a way to stop them. Clara nodded, her expression filled with quiet pride. That is all I ask, Alex. Humans endure, and that endurance can change everything. Even one person can make a difference if they think clearly, act with courage, and care about the outcome. You have already shown it once, and now you will show it again. The street around them remained calm, but Alex could feel the tension of the moment. The rogue fleet was approaching, danger looming, and yet he felt ready. Not because he was the strongest or the fastest, but because humans had a unique combination of intelligence, creativity, and courage. He understood now that one human could indeed make a difference. Clara glanced at him with a reassuring smile. We don't have much time, she said softly. But I have faith in you. Your abilities, your insight, and your courage, these are what will guide us. Humans endure, Alex. Never forget that. Alex nodded firmly. He turned back to the holographic map, ready to begin planning. Fear remained, but it was tempered by determination. He would use his intelligence, creativity, and courage to face this challenge. Humans could endure, adapt, and act decisively when it mattered most. And now he would prove it on a scale larger than he had ever imagined. Alex stood before the holographic map in Clara's small operations room, his fingers hovering above the controls as he considered the rogue fleet's movements. Ships moved in tight formations, coordinated and relentless, and the challenge ahead seemed almost impossible. Yet Alex felt a spark of determination. Humans had a way of seeing solutions that others could not, of adapting to challenges in ways that combined intelligence, courage, and creativity. That same quality had brought him here, and now it would guide him. He studied the fleet carefully, tracing the routes and patterns they had used so far. He noted how their formation depended heavily on overwhelming force and predictable maneuvers. Many species would respond with equal force, attempting to match their numbers and weapons. But Alex knew humans did not always rely on brute strength. They relied on observation, strategy, and thinking beyond what was obvious. This is not about fighting them head-on, he muttered to himself. It's about outsmarting them, using their own tactics against them. Clara, standing nearby, watched him with interest. "What are you thinking?" she asked softly. Alex smiled faintly. "I'm thinking about patterns. If we can predict their moves, we can create a path that guides them away from the colonies, using minimal force and maximum strategy. We can trap them in their own momentum." Clara's large eyes widened as she realized the audacity of his plan. "You really think this can work? Even with one human leading it?" Alex nodded. "It will require precision, timing, and adaptability. But humans can do that. We notice details, adjust on the fly, and find solutions others miss. I've done it before in engineering projects on Earth. This is just bigger." He began to draw routes on the holographic map, connecting points and imagining sequences of events. Every move had a consequence, every adjustment could change the outcome. He worked quickly but carefully, calculating the fleet's reactions, anticipating their decisions, and creating contingencies for each possibility. Clara leaned closer, watching in awe as the human worked with confidence and clarity. Minutes turned into hours and the plan grew more detailed. Alex considered the fleet's weapon ranges, their speed, the timing of their attacks, and the strengths of Clara's defenses. He devised a series of decoys, feints, and maneuvers designed to confuse the fleet, forcing them to overextend and creating opportunities for their own ships to become trapped or neutralized. "This is brilliant," Clara whispered, barely able to contain her admiration. "No alien strategist would think like this." Alex shrugged slightly. "It's just how humans solve problems. We adapt, we think fast, and we use what we have to our advantage. It's not about size or firepower, it's about strategy and execution." When he was satisfied with the plan, he turned to Clara. "We have to act now. Timing is critical. We'll need your fleet to follow the routes precisely, but I'll adjust as we go. If anything changes, we react immediately. Flexibility is key." Clara nodded. She gathered the fleet commanders and explained Alex's strategy, though many were skeptical at first. Humans had always been considered fragile, unpredictable, and limited compared to the disciplined alien species. Yet Alex's calm confidence and clear explanations convinced them to trust his guidance. The first wave of ships moved out under Alex's direction. He monitored their positions on the holographic map, giving instructions with precision. "Shift left 20 degrees. Engage decoy drones now. Maintain formation." His voice was calm, firm, and commanding, and the alien pilots followed without hesitation. The rogue fleet responded as Alex had anticipated. Their ships moved aggressively toward the first decoys, overextending their positions and leaving gaps in their formation. Alex adjusted commands in real time, guiding the defenders and exploiting weaknesses. His mind worked quickly, calculating distances, timing, and outcomes faster than anyone else in the room could. Clara and her advisors watched in awe. "He's thinking 3 steps ahead," one whispered. "And adjusting instantly. Humans really are remarkable." As the battle unfolded, Alex's ingenuity became more apparent. He had anticipated the rogue fleet's attempts to adapt, and he had prepared counters for every move. When one group of ships tried to flank, he redirected the defenders to intercept. When another wave attempted a direct assault, he used decoy signals and electromagnetic pulses to disrupt their systems. The aliens had never seen such quick thinking, combining strategy with adaptive tactics on the fly. Alex felt a rush of focus. Fear was present, yes, but it was tempered by confidence. Humans had a natural ability to endure challenges, think creatively, and act decisively. That combination was now saving entire colonies from destruction. He guided each maneuver, continuously analyzing outcomes and adjusting as needed. Each success reinforced the strategy, and the rogue fleet began to falter under the precision of his planning. Clara's people began to cheer quietly as their ships executed the maneuvers flawlessly. They realized that humans were not only capable of surviving extreme situations but also of leading others to success through intelligence and resourcefulness. Alex's calm, adaptable leadership was something they had never experienced. Hours passed and the tide of the conflict shifted dramatically. The rogue fleet, once confident and overwhelming, now found themselves trapped in their own momentum, confused by decoys and misdirected attacks. Alex's plan worked because it relied not on brute strength but on clever adaptation, timing, and observation, qualities that humans excelled at naturally. Clara turned to the other alien leaders. "Do you see?" she said, her voice filled with awe. "One human acting with intelligence and courage has changed the course of this battle. We underestimated humans, but now we understand, they are extraordinary." Alex, focused on the holographic map, barely noticed the praise. He was fully absorbed in the execution of the plan, adjusting each maneuver, ensuring the fleet followed precisely. He trusted in his abilities and, more importantly, he trusted in the resilience and adaptability of humans. As the rogue fleet began to retreat, disorganized and demoralized, the alien commanders approached Clara. "Your human is remarkable," one said. "We have never seen such speed of thought and clarity of action. How can one being accomplish so much?" Clara smiled. "He is human. They endure, adapt, and act with ingenuity in ways that others cannot imagine. We have underestimated them for too long." Alex finally looked up, seeing the rogue fleet's ships moving away into the distance. Relief washed over him. The colonies were safe, thanks to strategy, adaptability, and decisive action. He felt proud, not of himself alone, but of what humans could accomplish when they applied intelligence, creativity, and courage. Clara approached him, her eyes filled with admiration. "You've done it, Alex. You've saved countless lives, and your ingenuity has proven what humans are capable of." Alex smiled humbly. "I just did what humans do. We adapt, we endure, and we think. That's all." Clara shook her head. "It's more than that. You showed resourcefulness, courage, and leadership. Humans can survive and succeed where others would fail. That is why you are extraordinary." Alex looked out over the city, watching the celebrations of the people who had survived. He realized something important. Humans might appear small or fragile, but their combination of intelligence, courage, and adaptability made them capable of incredible feats. One person could indeed make a difference. One human could change the outcome of an entire battle. He glanced at Clara. "I suppose humans are underestimated a lot," he said softly. Clara laughed, a soft, musical sound. "Yes, but now you've shown them. Humans are resilient, clever, and brave. You've proven it to everyone here." Alex nodded, feeling both humility and pride. The rogue fleet had been outsmarted, the colonies saved, and the aliens around him had learned something new about humans. One small species, often overlooked, could endure and adapt in ways others could not. As the sun set over the alien city, casting long golden light over the buildings, Alex felt a sense of calm satisfaction. Humans endured. Humans adapted. Humans acted with courage and intelligence. That combination had changed the course of events and saved countless lives today. Clara stood beside him, smiling proudly. "Remember this, Alex. Humans endure, and that makes all the difference." Alex looked out at the city, at the fleets returning home, at the aliens who now understood what humans were truly capable of, and he smiled. He knew this was only the beginning. Humans had a unique gift, a combination of intelligence, courage, and adaptability that no one could ignore. And now the galaxy had seen it firsthand. The city was alive with soft lights reflecting off the metallic towers, and the gentle hum of hovercrafts filled the air. The rogue fleet had retreated, scattered and disorganized, leaving the colonies unharmed. The citizens, both human and alien, were beginning to emerge from their shelters, sharing quiet relief and cautious celebration. Alex stood on a high platform overlooking the plaza, his eyes following the last ships as they disappeared into the distance. He could hardly believe it. What had seemed impossible hours ago had been resolved. Clara approached him, her expression calm but filled with pride. She had been standing nearby throughout the final stages of the battle, watching as Alex guided the fleet with precision, adapting strategies in real time. "Alex," she said, her voice carrying a mix of admiration and relief, "you've done something extraordinary. Your planning, your courage, and your quick thinking have saved countless lives today." Alex shook his head slightly, brushing a hand over his forehead as if to dismiss the praise. "I just did what humans do," he said quietly. "We notice things others might miss, we adapt, and we act. That's all. Anyone else could have tried the same thing if they thought the way humans do." Clara smiled knowingly. "It's more than that, Alex. Many species would have tried brute force, overwhelming numbers, or sheer firepower. You did not. You used intelligence, patience, and courage. That is human ingenuity, and it works where others fail." Alex glanced down at the streets below, seeing aliens begin to help one another, rebuilding damaged sections of the city and tending to minor injuries. Despite the chaos that had just passed, life was returning to normal faster than anyone had expected. Humans had a way of enduring, of finding solutions even in impossible situations, and he realized that his actions had inspired more than just tactical success. They had given hope. Clara guided him toward the main plaza where the leaders of her people had gathered. The crowd, now aware that the danger had passed, looked up with a mixture of curiosity and admiration. Alex felt the weight of their attention but reminded himself that humans were capable of more than appearances suggested. Small acts, quick thinking, and resilience could change outcomes on scales far larger than one person might imagine. One of the senior leaders stepped forward. Her skin glimmered under the city lights, her movements precise and commanding. "Alex," she began formally, "your actions today have proven that humans are extraordinary allies. Where we thought only numbers and technology could prevail, you demonstrated strategy, adaptability, and courage beyond measure. We are honored that a human assisted us in our time of need." Alex blinked, slightly overwhelmed. He had always thought of humans as ordinary, clever in small ways but fragile in the face of extreme danger. Hearing such recognition from an alien leader made him pause. Clara had reminded him that humans endure, adapt, and act in ways others cannot anticipate, but hearing it spoken aloud reinforced just how far their capabilities reached. Thank you," Alex said carefully. "But really it wasn't just me. Humans act this way because we learn to survive, to adapt, and to care. That combination, thinking, acting, and enduring, that's what allows humans to make a difference." Clara's eyes shone with approval. "Exactly," she said softly. "You've shown that even one human acting with intelligence and care can impact an entire galaxy. You've not only saved lives, but you've shown my people the true value of humans as allies. This will not be forgotten." The crowd began to murmur among themselves. Many aliens had never witnessed such calm, quick-thinking leadership. Humans had often been underestimated, seen as fragile and limited, but Alex's actions had proven otherwise. They realized that human resilience was not only physical but also mental and strategic. Even in moments of extreme danger, humans could analyze, adapt, and act decisively. Alex allowed himself a small smile. He thought back to Clara's reminder of their childhood, the small accident in the colony gardens, his instinctive act of helping her. That single act, forgotten by him but remembered by Clara for years, had been the seed of trust, proof that humans could endure and act with courage. Now he saw that same principle applied on a much larger scale. The combination of small acts and human resilience had created lasting effects across worlds. One of the younger aliens approached, her movements tentative. "You are remarkable, Alex," she said, her voice quiet but filled with awe. "I've never seen anyone respond so calmly and creatively in a crisis. You make humans look powerful in ways I didn't imagine." Alex chuckled softly. "It's not about being the strongest," he said. "It's about thinking clearly, adapting quickly, and acting when it counts. That's what humans do. We endure, we learn, and we try to help where we can." Clara placed a hand on his shoulder, smiling. "And that is why I sought you out. Not just for your skill but for your ability to act with courage, intelligence, and care. Humans may seem ordinary, but they have a way of turning small qualities into extraordinary results. You've done that today." The leaders of the Alien Council nodded in agreement, taking notes and discussing quietly among themselves. It was clear that humans had earned a new level of respect and recognition. Alex's ingenuity, combined with human resilience, had not only averted a crisis but had changed perceptions of what humans were capable of. Alex looked around at the plaza, seeing citizens of Clara's species beginning to rebuild, inspired by what had happened. Even in the aftermath of danger, life continued, stronger and more hopeful than before. He realized that humans didn't just survive, they inspired others through their actions, leaving a legacy of resilience and care that could reach across planets and generations. Clara leaned closer, her voice gentle. "Do you see, Alex? That small act from our childhood, the courage you showed then, it matters. It led to trust. And today your courage and intelligence have proven that humans endure, adapt, and succeed in ways no one expected. That is the mark of a truly extraordinary species." Alex felt a swell of pride and humility at her words. It was a reminder that humans had qualities beyond strength or speed, qualities that allowed them to survive, adapt, and influence outcomes in ways others could not. Small acts of kindness, thoughtfulness, and courage could ripple outward, creating effects that reached far beyond what one could see. He glanced at the alien citizens around him, noticing the awe in their eyes. For the first time, he understood the power of human resilience on a galactic scale. Humans endured, acted creatively, and adapted to challenges no matter how great. That combination had saved lives today and would be remembered for years to come. Clara smiled warmly, seeing his expression. "Alex, you've proven something important, not just to me but to my people. Humans are not to be underestimated. Your courage, intelligence, and adaptability have saved us. That is why humans are extraordinary. That is why we will remember this moment. Alex nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility and the satisfaction of accomplishment. I see it now, he said softly. Even small acts, even human resilience, can leave a lasting impact. I never imagined that one person could do so much. But humans endure, and that makes all the difference. The Alien Council nodded, murmuring agreements and taking careful notes. Alex's actions would be remembered, studied, and celebrated. Humans, often overlooked, had proven themselves capable of extraordinary feats. One human engineer had changed the course of a crisis and earned recognition across a species, and perhaps across an entire sector of the galaxy. Clara reached out and touched his arm gently. Thank you, Alex. For your courage, your intelligence, and your care. Humans endure, and today you've shown why that matters. Alex looked at her and then at the city below, where life was returning to normal, hope restored. He realized that humans, though often underestimated, could influence the galaxy in profound ways. Courage, ingenuity, and small acts of kindness could leave marks that lasted for generations. A quiet smile spread across his face as he whispered, "We endure, and that does make all the difference." Around him, the aliens celebrated in small, respectful ways. They had learned something new about humans: their resilience, their resourcefulness, and their ability to succeed against overwhelming odds. Alex felt a deep sense of connection, understanding that the same qualities he had displayed in a childhood act of kindness were now recognized on a galactic scale. The sky over the city glowed with the setting sun, casting warm light on the towers and streets. Alex stood tall, feeling pride in human resilience and ingenuity. Small acts mattered. Courage mattered. Intelligence and adaptability mattered. Together they could make the impossible possible. And in that moment, Alex knew that humans had earned their place among extraordinary allies, capable of changing the outcome of events across worlds. The galaxy had witnessed human ingenuity, endurance, and courage, and it would not forget.